Good evening, welcome. Pam, would you please note, it is 5:51, we're starting. All are present, yes, yeah, she's right there, okay. All trustees are present. I'd like to welcome everyone to our June meeting. This summer is going by so fast. Item 1.3, the board, oh no, we'll skip that. Okay. Dr. Huron, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Real estate. Real estate deal.
He was here, he would throw something at me. Item 1.4, approval of minutes, September 13th, 2016.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions?
And
Mrs.
we're
Robles.
approving all the items, right?
All the minutes
Okay,
that
good.
are on the agenda, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Man, Pam was busy.
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Solis. Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Ms. Soraya Nahara.
Abstain. Wasn't there.
She
Dr.
wasn't there,
Graham.
so
I wasn't there, so I can't really vote.
Dr. Graham.
Yay.
Mr. Fierro.
Aye. Item 1.6, open forum. Is anyone here to speak under open forum? Going once, twice?
Emma.
No. Okay. Oh, this is the presentations. Okay. Oh, item 1.7, Pamela, I'd like to ask Representative Acosta and her team to come up and say a presentation to the college and to Dr. Surata. Welcome, Representative.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
I would like to thank the chair, Mr. Art Fierro. Thank you for allowing me to speak this afternoon. Ms. Selena Solis, thank you. Ms. Belen Robles, Ms. Bonnie Nahera, Brian Haggerty, Mr. Oxer, and Ms. Graham, Dr. Graham. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here this morning. I'm here today to thank you and acknowledge your commitment to the Vietnam veterans of El Paso. About 2 years ago, we, a committee of us, I am the chair of that committee, called the Welcome Home El Paso Vietnam Veterans. We realized that El Paso Vietnam veterans had never been welcomed after having served in the Vietnam War, and that we were 50 years too late. So we started a process of getting 9 different events that we had last August, from banners on the streets saying "Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans" to a parade downtown, to having their pictures and their stories on the digital wall downtown, to an exhibit at the History Museum, to a day at the Chihuahua Stadium with all their families, to a dinner, a reception, a pinning ceremony where we partnered with the Department of Defense, and a retired colonel from Washington came down. We had dignitaries, the mayor of El Paso, our Congressman O'Rourke, and several others that pinned each of the Vietnam veterans that were present. We had over 600, and each one was called by name, their rank, and their branch of service. And they were very, very grateful to everyone that participated, and there are many in here who participated. The last project that we had was, there were many of them that had a lot of stories to tell El Paso. And we didn't want those stories to be lost. And so this is really a project that I thought, and I felt very, very strongly about, that we tell the stories, that we write them in a book, and that we memorialize those stories so that future generations never forget. Well, in the process, what happened was we have a lot of Vietnam veterans that are not computer literate, And so we needed help in gathering the stories and having someone even interview the Vietnam veterans, and then students would actually write the stories for them. We have about 180 of these stories. And I came to Dr. Serrata. Dr. Serrata, thank you so much for speaking with me. And he had some of his students help. So these students actually interviewed Vietnam veterans and then wrote the story as told by the Vietnam veteran. And so we're very grateful for that. These individuals, the Vietnam veterans, went through a very bad time. They were drafted to a war that nobody wanted. And then they experienced leaving our nation. They were not wanted in Vietnam. And when they came home, they were not greeted with parades or banners, which is why we did what we did. I get emotional, I'm sorry. So we want to make sure that these stories are not forgotten, so that future generations of our military will never be treated like that. And so today we're here to honor you, to give you a book of the Vietnam veteran stories. There's about 180, and I think each one that you read, when you read them, they all talk about how they left and what they didn't know where they were going, what they experienced when they were in Vietnam, and what they experienced when they came back, how badly they were treated, how they were told to take off their uniforms so people would not attack them, how they were spit at, they had things thrown at them. And so I think we owe them a lot. And one thing that stays constant in every single story, they all said, if my country calls on me, I will do it again. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is bravery. And so, Dr. Serrata, you are very instrumental in helping us publish this book with the help of your students. Thank you so much. We have a plaque for you, and it says, "Welcome home, El Paso Vietnam Veterans Committee, El Paso Community College, in appreciation for your partnership and support to welcome home El Paso Vietnam Veterans, August 2016. And this is presented by myself and the committee of the Vietnam Veterans book. So, Dr. Serrata, thank you so much. We also have a book for each of you so that you can read some of these stories. They are very touching. And I have Ms. Oaxaca, who is also on the committee, that will be passing a proclamation from President Obama, who actually made the Vietnam Veteran Commemoration part of the Department of Defense. And so we want to thank you for it. We appreciate your assistance. And the Vietnam veterans of El Paso appreciate El Paso Community College being part of them. And many of them have attended community college and are very, very grateful to each and every one of you. And with that, I thank all of you. Thank you very much for being part of our community. And to everyone that participated, and if you know of anyone that is a Vietnam veteran, we give every Vietnam veteran a book free of charge. So if you know of any Vietnam veteran, we have a book for him. If you know of a person that has passed, was a Vietnam veteran, we also have a book for them. I do want to say that when we started this project, and since we finished, at least 4 of these individuals have passed. And so we want to make sure that these stories are told, that these stories are never forgotten. So we have a total of about 45 books that we're donating to the community college so that you may place them in your community college campuses for research for those individuals that want to know about the Vietnam War, that want to know what their grandfathers went through, what they experienced. These are true stories of the individuals that went there and came back. And so with that, we thank you, and we do have the 45 books for you that we'll leave with your staff, I imagine.
Thank you.
Yes?
Representative, thank you so much, and thank you for taking on this project. I am so looking forward to reading it, and I'm sure, much like you, I won't be able to keep a dry eye. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and thank you to the Vietnam veterans for serving our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 1.7.1, optional presentations will be made by the presidents of the Classified Staff Association, the Professional Staff Association, the Faculty Association, and the Student Government Association.
Good evening.
Good afternoon. Mr. Ferro, Dr. Serrata, and for the new board members, welcome on board. And my name's Emma Hernandez. I'm representing Professional Staff Association in representing and standing in for Leti Urenda, who is ill, and Ms. Hoffner had another commitment. Mr. Ferro, board members, Dr. Serrata. PSA has found many cases where longevity was unawarded last year. Therefore, Professional Staff Association is recommending a one-time disbursement of $1,000 to those unawarded PSA members. And we also took a survey of our PSA members as to whether they wanted across the board or in increments. And so additionally, we're requesting a 4% salary increase across the board. That's what the majority of our PSA members wish, that we go ahead and represent everybody equally across the board. And we are at your disposal to discuss any compensation. We also are hosting a Viva El Paso for Professional Staff Association for educational scholarships that we're going to award, and we're going to host it on July 14th. Tickets will be sold for $15 at the cashier's office, and we're still working on acquiring the tickets, but it's July 14th, and any of the proceeds that we make from there will be awarding students there for educational scholarships. And we're hoping that we can award one member of the Viva El Paso group. We're hoping they also apply so that we can award one of the members that will be dancing. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Any
Mr. Hernandez.
questions?
No.
Mr. Haggerty, you have no questions for me? Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. What else? Okay.
Item 1.8, communications, none. Item 1.9, Board of Trustees business. Item 1.9.1, the Board of Trustees will conduct the official swearing-in and administering of the oath of office to the newly elected member of the Board of Trustees in District 1.
Oh, I seem to have misplaced the judge.
Better get in a row. Oh, she left.
No. Yes.
Mr. Uxer will be ready.
Oh, there we go.
There she comes.
Welcome, Judge Perez.
Go down there. Go easy on the judge there.
Get like John. Do all three, or do we have to individual?
She is so sweet.
Oh,
President Serrata, Chairman Fierro, and members of our esteemed Board of Trustees, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity, thank Mr. Uxer for the opportunity to coming before you once again and administering the oath of your trustee. It's not very often that I get to speak to this board, to this body, and to the administrators, and to our amazing faculty and the students that they lead, and tell you that I, as a citizen of this community, are very grateful for all of your service, that it is an impressive institution, that it is a critical institution to this community, and that we are very fortunate to have such amazing leaders at its head. And so I thank you for your service. Now, I asked Mrs. Uxer to come up and join her husband because I know that it's a team. I know that it takes a lot of time, sacrifice, commitment, and love for this institution to together lead it. And so I think it's just as important for her to share in the moment with Mr. Uxer, with her husband. So congratulations, Mr. Uxer. I congratulate you on your election. And so at this time, I'm going to ask that you please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, John E. Uxer Jr.,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of member of the Board of Trustees,
of member of the Board of Trustees,
District 1,
District 1,
El Paso County Community College
El Paso County Community College
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and the laws of the United States
the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. Judith, you want to say a few words to your colleague? I started the sign, sorry. Go ahead and say it.
Let me tell you for sure, it's a team effort. If I hadn't had this lady helping me, it would have been a different story. So thank you for her to allowing me to do this.
Congratulations, Mr. Uxer. Ms. Uxer. Thank you, Judge Perez.
Since I have the microphone, one last thing.
Oh.
I wanted to welcome Ms. Nájera to the board. I wish you well. May you always be guided by your faith and your strength and your courage to do good in this community. Thank you.
Don't forget to leave your invoice with Mr. Uxer.
Checks in the mail.
Item 1.9.2, the Board of Trustees will conduct elections for the positions of Chair, Vice Chair, and Secretary of the Board of Trustees, and conduct such other business as is necessary to the organization of the Board of Trustees.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would like to place in nomination the re-election of our present chair, Art Fierro.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Robles. Thank you, Dr. Graham.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Nominations are closed.
Mr. Chairman, I move that nomination cease and that Art Fierro be elected by acclamation.
Second.
Thank you again, Ms. Robles. Thank you, Dr. Graham.
Congratulations.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Ms. Solis, Secretary, and if I could make the motion additionally to make Judge Haggerty the Vice Chair.
Second.
Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Nominations are closed.
Mr. Chairman, I move that nomination cease and that we elect Ms. Solis as Secretary of the Board and Mr. Haggerty as Vice Chair by acclamation.
Second.
Thank you very much.
May I make a comment, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Would the board like to change any meeting times at this time? Because this would be the time that the board would elect to decide to have their meetings on the same date of the month or choose a different date.
No, I think, thank you, Pam. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Okay.
Item 1.9.3, the Board of Trustees will deliberate on the purchase of a portion of the C.D. Stewart Survey 324 Tri-F consisting of 8 acres more or less from Frank Financial Partners LP, a Texas limited partnership.
I'd like to postpone item 1.9.3 till after executive session.
Second, oh, you want to make a motion? Motion, Chair? I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, Pam. Forgot what meeting we were in.
Item 1.9.4, the Board of Trustees will deliberate on assigning the responsibility for executive session records.
Yes, I asked for this item to be put on the agenda. I'd like to recommend that we authorize Mr. Gallardo to be the responsible for the executive sessions recording.
Second.
Any questions? No? Pam, we're ready?
Mrs. Robles. Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Solis.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Ms. Soria Nahara.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Mr. Fierro.
Aye?
Item 1.9.5, the Board of Trustees will deliberate on the County of El Paso's potential lawsuit regarding SB 4.
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone that till after executive.
Second.
Any questions? Okay. Pam?
Mrs. Robles.
Aye.
Mr. Uxer.
Aye.
Ms. Solis.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty.
Aye.
Ms. Soria Nahara.
Aye.
Dr. Graham.
Aye.
Mr. Fierro.
Aye?
Item 1.9.6, the Board of Trustees will deliberate on entering into an agreement with the Texas Association of School Boards Policy Service, TASB, to assist the college in evaluating and updating its policies and procedures.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve and that we direct Dr. Strata to go into negotiations on the fee.
Second.
Any questions? No?
I guess just could we get clarification? I know there's been some confusion, so either Chair or Dr. Graham could just explain, provide explanation on sort of what the parameters of, if we approved TASB going into, TASB helping us, what exactly would that entail?
So what happens on that is that they initially will take a look at our policies and see and work with the president to determine which ones need updating, which ones are okay the way they are. The structure of it, do we keep them the way they are, or do we file them differently where they're more accessible to the public? When there's a need for a policy to be updated, like say, for example, the guns on campus or anything like that that comes up, then they contact administration to let them know that there's a need for a policy update, and they send him samples, or we draft the samples, or he drafts the sample and sends it to them. TASB does not approve policies. The approval comes from the board.
Right, that's still our purview.
Right, so let's say that they recommend a policy and some changes, and we review it. Usually we'll have 30 days to look at it and then say that we don't like the language, or that we decided to go a different direction. Then we let them know what our policy is going to say, and they can tell you, well, the other colleges went with this policy. Well, that's okay, but this is what our board wants. And we decide as a board what the policy is going to look like.
So is it similar to, say, we're hiring TASB as a consultant to consult with them on any policy revisions that we feel is needed and get their input, because this is kind of their expertise. And do we retain them? I mean, there's a fee involved, and
There's a fee involved, and they've sent Dr. Serrata the projected fee, and, we left it at that until the whole board discussed it. He's the one that will talk to them about this is too much, or this, what else do I get? And so there's an obligation that's contractual, and they'll give him a copy. More than anything, they keep us up to date, like on the legislative changes that happen. If there's some that require new policies or that we need, they will, they're the ones that get kind of ahead of the game and draft up the policies and send them. So they communicate directly with Dr. Serrata and his designee or designees. If it's related to technology and he designates Dr. Giron, then they deal with her. But that's the process, and then they give us the sample policies, and then we decide, is this, or we run it through the attorney here and say, can you tweak it, or is this good for us, or what's different? That's the process.
okay, thank you.
Dr. Graham, is there any other community colleges that use this service?
Yes, sir, they have. I didn't ask how many of the colleges use them, but TASB has separate attorneys and staff for us to consult just from the community colleges versus the ones that are for the school district.
Dr. Graham, is what we're voting on today to have Dr. Serrata open the lines of communication with them and see the different prices, or are we voting already that we're going to go with them regardless of how much they're going to cost?
My motion was to go into negotiations with them, to start working with them immediately. We have a ballpark figure, but that's where we'll leave it up to Dr. Serrata to negotiate, hopefully a better price.
And just for clarification, because they have two, they have a price quoted if they're the ones that are going to work with him to get them all set up and structured differently or whatever, or if they're just going to provide information once in a while, what is it that we want. So it'll be up to him.
Okay.
That we maintain
Mr.
control.
Chairman, for the record, the committee that was put together by you to review how best we could address the issue of policy changes or modifications or creations recommended that we go with TASB.
Right, correct.
So, based on that recommendation, I feel very comfortable in approving this.
Pam, I think we're ready for the question. Thank you, Ms. Robles.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Solis,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty,
Aye.
Ms. Soria Nahara,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Fierro.
Aye. Dr. Serrata, during the negotiations, maybe we can set up some sort of conference call where during the retreat or some meeting, open meeting that we have, TASB can kind of just give us a synopsis of exactly what they're going to do for us, actually.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Item 1.10, Board Reports. Item 1.10.1, Treasurer's Report, May 31st, 2017. No action is necessary. Item 1.10.2, President's Report. Item 1.10.2.1, Dr. Serrata will update the Board of Trustees and audience on recent events that have transpired at the college.
Chair Fierro, members of the board, obviously would like to congratulate on behalf of the faculty, staff, and administration, Mr. Uxer, and welcome him to his first term, first official elected term, as he would say, as well as all of the officers and the full board. The faculty, staff, and administration look forward to continuing executing the vision of this board that has been laser focused on student success. On June 5th of this month, we participated, many of the board members and I participated, as well as many of the faculty, staff, and administrators in the Trailblazers Early College grand opening at America's High School. This is the 12th early college high school that we have partnered with our local school districts to move forward with. So many thanks to all of the board members who had an opportunity to be there, Dean Badillo and all of the team that helped coordinate those events. Well done, Carrie Moe and her team, all of PR and marketing. The Leadership Academy held its annual retreat on June 26th and 27th in Rio Doso. Many thanks to Dr. Linda Brown for her leadership and the Leadership Academy Committee for their ongoing support and continued success of the Leadership Academy. The Diagnostic Medical Sonography Program has been awarded continuing accreditation through 2027. The Commission on Accreditation of the Allied Health Education Programs awarded the program reaccreditation on May 19th of this year. Congratulations to the program coordinator, Nora Balderas, clinical coordinator Eloy Tinajero, adjunct faculty, students, and Dean Paula Mitchell for this accomplishment. Physical Therapy Assisted Program has also been awarded continued accreditation through the fall of 2026. Physical Therapy Education Commission reaffirmed the accreditation at their April 2017 meeting. Congratulations to Dr. Deborah Tomaselli-Brock, Program Coordinator Michelle Bernarki, Clinical Coordinator Rhonda Hefner, faculty, and again, Dean Paula Mitchell for their hard work on completing the self-study. The El Paso Restaurant Association awarded $2,500 scholarships to 3 of our culinary arts program students. Faculty, staff, and students attended the award ceremony held at the venue at Union Plaza on May 23rd. Congratulations to the students, Hector Arzote, Aaron Perez, and Teresa Sue, for this great accomplishment. Again, thank you to Chef Daniel Guerra and the culinary arts faculty, and to Dean Rick Webb for all the service and guidance that they provide to their students. The dual credit summer 2017 convening was held on June 17th here at the Administrative Services Center. In attendance were representatives from Socorro, Canatillo, Isleta, Silva Health Magnet High School, UTEP, Region 19, and EPCC, our district-wide coordinators and faculty. This dual credit convening provides new and prospective dual credit instructors the information and tools needed for a successful start in the dual credit program. Convening is supported by a generous grant from the Meadows Foundation. Many thanks again to Dean Tony Badillo and her dual credit office staff, to Ms. Yvette Savina and her UTEP staff, and to Sue Selk, our dual credit coordinator, for their hard work in coordinating this event. The cosmetology department hosted a Daddy Do Day. I was out of town, or else I would have gone to the Daddy Do Day community event on June 17th. This event brings dads and daughters together for a day of specialized training, Chair, I hope you went, on how to do hairdos for their daughters, well, not for the fathers. The event was well attended, and special thanks goes to Ms. Sonia Rosales, cosmetology program coordinator, all of the program faculty, and Dean Rick Webb, who leads that area. And finally, we have another award and accolade that we'd like to acknowledge. El Paso Community College's Emergency Medical Technology Paramedic Program offers dual credit EMT basic courses at EPISD CCTE, their Career College Technical Education Institute. Dual credit CCTE students are also active in the Health Occupation Students of America, or the HOSA Club, in high school. These students do volunteer work throughout the year, but they also participate in regional and state competition. And this year, 3 teams of students placed high enough in the state competition to compete at the 2017 International Leadership Conference competition that was held last week in Orlando, Florida. A team of our students from the EMT class competed in the medical reserve team. I'm not going to read all of the students' names because these teams there's extensive, but one of our teams placed first at the international competition. Another team of our dual credit students came in second place at the international competition. And our third team, the third team to compete, also completed the dual credit medical terminology and medical law and ethics course this past year. They came in 5th. So we had 1st, 2nd, and 5th at the competition. All of these students plan to enroll in the EMT class this coming fall as seniors. Congratulations to all of our students. Too many to name. They had so many teams, and they did so well. As well as our faculty member, Rebecca Manriquez, and to Tracy Prado. Also, congratulations to Mr. Tony Ayub, who's not only on our faculty, but also a Socorro board member. EMSP Program Coordinator Carlos Prado, our Clinical Ambulance Coordinator Timothy Groover, Clinical Hospital Coordinator Ann Helga Carrion, who's the Discipline Coordinator for their involvement and support of the dual credit students and faculty. And a special thanks and appreciation again to Dr. Paula Mitchell and her team. So very proud of our students and their accomplishments.
Thank you, Dr. Serrata.
Dr. Serrata, I have a question. When I was at a conference out of town, I heard that Dr. Olga Valerio and some students also brought another award, or do you know about that one?
Dr. Valerio, would you please, or Mr. Smith, would you please enlighten us? And I apologize for missing that. I'm sure it was brought to my attention.
Yeah, I think Dr. Valerio would do a much better job at explaining the incredible success of her students and the solar panel materials that they developed. So, Dr. Valerio, can you
Please,
come
Dr.
share?
Valerio.
Good evening.
First of all, good evening. Thanks that I was here. I have a very headache, but I said my boss is not here, and I had to be here. We have a top 10 team finalist for the Innovation Challenge in 2017. It was to explore or innovate a new material for the solar panels that it will be benefit or increase the efficiency for the solar panels. This is a composite material that was invented at ATC. 3 students went to DC. They have a boot camp over there. We were the most performance team, and it was amazing. It was too much work. I can say we arrived with a presentation, and everything changed from one day to the another day. We were sleeping until 2 o'clock every single day. And it was, I feel like watching the TV with a Shark Tank to say, my product is the best. Please invest $25,000 for this product. The student got it $500. We got a plaque from El Paso Community College that is not mine. I had to present to Dr. Serrata and Mr. Smith. But it was amazing because we have a different kind of students. We have a BA students that are coming as a second career, young kids that they wanted to do something different, and I have a retired person in that kind of team. It was amazing. We wanted to do again, but we wanted to invent something different. And because that invention, maybe we are going to look to manufacturing, and I hope that we can be able to manufacturing and selling, and maybe I will be leaving if that one get me a really good money. That's what I'm planning to do.
So it was solar panels?
It was solar panel composite material, because when the solar panels reach 77 Fahrenheit degrees, they lost efficiency. Yeah. And then when you put in this composite on the back to the solar panels keep the efficiency for what they were selling. And they reach like around 80% to the efficiency, not only in the peak time, but also in the afternoon. This is a gel material we call composite material.
Dr. Valerio, again, my apologies and kudos. You're absolutely right, and you had brought this to my attention. This is our students that you led in renewable energy for the Innovation Challenge 2017. That was in DC. My understanding also from you is that each of the students received $500 for being one of the top 10 finalist group. This was on June 11th as well, and my understanding is that you had Congressman O'Rourke, representative from Senator Cruz's office, stop by and wish you luck, as well as to hear your presentation, your students' presentation.
Yes, they
in addition, you received a letter, the students received a letter from Senator Cornyn. So congratulations to you and your students, well done. And we look forward to you winning next year.
So this one is the students' work more than mine.
They need a faculty member and a leader and a dean that is facilitating that. So congratulations to you and your students. And Dr. Graham, thank you for reminding me.
Thank you for your leadership, Doctor.
Doctor, before you go, Doctor, come back.
Dr. Valerio.
Come back.
Congratulations again.
Congratulations, but could you get those students to work with Rick back here, our maintenance guy, and see if we can cover all our roofs on the college with solar
No,
panels?
but we can do it in the solar panels. I hope that we can, it's innovation. We don't want it to patent because, you know, as soon as you patent this kind of composite material, the people from China is going to copy. The patent doesn't warranty anything to you. We wanted to start to testing outside. I have a solar panels on my house, and that's what I'm going to start to testing this material. And if they work like we are expecting, I think so it's going to be a really good product to start to selling in the
So we
future.
can start with your building and then all the buildings on the college?
We wanted to do in all the buildings, and the most important is in the farmer solar panels, especially because in the farmers, you produce a heat island effect. That means you are contaminated more than what you think because you are producing footprints to the environment. Yeah.
Well, we're hoping that you come up with some very innovative ideas for the buildings that we will have in the near future.
I hope to.
Congratulations,
Thank
ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Valerio.
Congratulations
Hey,
again.
congratulations. Thank you for your leadership.
Item 1.11, consent docket, no items. Item 2.0, administration, none. Item 3.1, full-time institutionally funded actions.
Move to approve?
Second.
Questions? Nope. Ready, Pam?
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Solis,
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty,
Aye.
Ms. Soria Nahara,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Fierro.
Aye.
Item 3.2, full-time externally funded actions, none. Item 3.3, information items, none. Item 4.1, consideration and deliberation on the approval to award a 3-year contract to Larry Otten Auctioneers to provide auctioneer services for the disposition of surplus, unserviceable, and obsolete El Paso County Community College District property.
Move to approve?
Second.
Questions?
Just a quick question. I was wondering that there wasn't a fee or a cost associated, but I see it has to be sold first, right? And we get the percentage, or they get the percentage of the sale
14%.
proceeds, 14%? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Ready, Pam?
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Solis.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty,
Aye.
Ms. Soria Nahara,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Fierro.
Aye.
Item 5.1, physical facilities, none. Item 6.1, consideration and deliberation on a grant award from the El Paso Community Foundation and El Paso Festivals, Inc. to produce and present Viva El Paso for the 2017 season.
Move to approve.
Second?
Questions?
Questions? I'll make a comment. I went to see it on June 16th. It was great. Mr. Townsend and his team did a wonderful job. I wish he was here to tell him.
Did we already call the vote? No.
Thank you, Ms. Solis.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Uxer,
Aye.
Ms. Solis.
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty,
Aye.
Ms. Soria Nahara,
Aye.
Dr. Graham,
Aye.
Mr. Fierro. Item 7.1, consideration and deliberation on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for new courses.
Move to approve?
Second.
This one just shows you
Chair, may I amend the motion and ask to move to approve 7.2 as well?
Dr. Graham, are you fine with Ms. Solis adding 7.2 to your motion to approve?
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay.
Ms. Robles?
Ms. Robles?
Yes.
So the item 7.2, consideration and deliberation on the approval of continuing education tuition rates for revised courses.
Okay, questions? Go. We're ready.
Mrs. Robles,
Aye.
Mr. Uxer?
Aye.
Ms. Solis?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Ms. Soria Nahara?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Fierro.
Aye.
Item 8.0, Community Services, none.
Executive session, please.
Item 1.3, the Board of Trustees may conduct an executive or closed session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for one or more of the following reasons. 1, consultation with its attorney to seek or receive legal advice or consultation regarding pending or contemplated litigation or for any purpose authorized by law. 2, discussion about the value or transfer of real property. 3, discussion about a prospective gift or donation. 4, consideration of specific personnel matters. 5, discussion about security personnel or devices. Or 6, discussion of certain economic development matters. The board may also announce that it will go into executive session on any item listed on this agenda if the subject matter is permitted for a closed session by provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Any vote regarding these items shall be taken in open session.
It is now 8:09. The Board of Trustees will now reconvene in regular session.
I make a motion to approve item 1.9.3.
Second.
All the question, let me read it real quick. The Board of Trustees will deliberate on purchase of a portion of the CD's Stewart Survey 324 TRI-F consisting of 8 acres, more or less, from Frank Financial Partners Limited, a Texas limited partnership. All in favor? Oh, call the question, please. Sorry.
Call the names. Mrs. Robles, oh,
Go on.
she's not here. Mr. Uxer? Ms. Solis?
Aye.
Mr. Haggerty?
Aye.
Ms. Soria Nájera?
Aye.
Dr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Fierro.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.